Good day, I'm Junior Researcher Adam Southgate, and today's lecture will be covering the Fracti Pobl. I'd appreciate that all hunters please subscribe as to not miss any future lectures, and also if you enjoy the lecture and find it informative, please like the video. I would also be very happy to hear your thoughts, views and stories of your interactions with the monsters of the spheres in the comment area of this video. So, to begin, as always, we'll start with our general announcements. Firstly, I will be endeavouring in future to release these videos on Fridays, as the druid in charge of my office has explained to me that this would be a more appropriate time to do so. Secondly, the team led by Herobrine Harry 7698, who left to the other side of the Perpetual Tear in search of the kidnapped research team, have, at this point, lost contact with our base camp there. From last contact with the team, they were approaching what appeared to be a town or village. Their plan was to approach late into the night, which lasts 27 hours there, and carefully scout out the settlement for any sign of the missing researchers. However, as stated, contact with the team has been lost, with our last communication from them being 2 hours before they planned to enact their reconnaissance mission. We will keep you updated on any further developments, though this may only be a simple communications breakdown. Thirdly, the Eldritch entity contaminating the Llandigfedd reservoir has been taken down by journeyman hunters Pablo and Molly Porkshanks. The two, using MMBs, were able to construct an elaborate Rube Goldberg machine that successfully increased the degrees of separation between action and effect to kill the entity. And thankfully none too soon, as trilobite-like creatures with a great many tentacles had begun to miraculously appear within the waters. Finally, a wraith has appeared in the Blackwood Miners Institute building in the town of, Blackwood. Long since converted into a community arts centre, the building sees quite a fair bit of foot traffic, heightening the danger. The wraith is still unidentified, however, we are hoping that the hunters who take on the contract can identify the deceased person the wraith is mimicking and perform the necessary ritual to force it to fade back into a spirit. I'm sure you all are aware, but just in case I will explain. Wraiths are extremely aggressive entities that will attack any perceived slight to their personal idea of decorum. They are not able to pass through solid matter, however they are able to create projections of solid structures that they can pass through, but you cannot. They will use this ability to construct traps designed to separate their chosen victim, and then slice at them with their projections. Due to this, the Miners Institute turned theatre has been closed under the guise of maintenance until the entity is dealt with. While this specialty contract is available to any hunter at the rank of journeyman or higher, the order suggests that it be taken on as a team to reduce the chances of being trapped and dissected. If you are interested in the contract in question, please contact your local order office. Before we can discuss the Fracti Pobl, we must first explain the EA subspheres, or Earth-adjacent subspheres. These are subspheres that bear some passing resemblance to our own. The Perpetual Tear in Snowdonia National Park is one such EA subsphere, as the landscape mirrors our own. The resemblance, however, does not need to be so specific. It simply needs to be some element that is close to our Earth. This could be the presence of humans at some point in their history to an almost exact duplicate of our own history. These EAs give us an almost what-if scenario that we only get to glimpse in most cases. One such peek into an EA was a mundane human male that breached into our sphere from his own subsphere. This individual, nicknamed Traveller due to him breaching while holding a suitcase packed with spare clothing, spoke a completely unknown language, utterly disconnected from any upon our world. While communication was virtually impossible, one thing of note was his complete surprise and fascination with stars, with him having absolutely no understanding of what they might be. Thankfully, Traveller was harmless, now living under the care of the Norwegian government. However, some are not so benign. An example of this was the Red 1987 incident. Specifically, in 1987, a pregnant red squirrel breached into our sphere upon a small island off the coast of Cornwall. Initially going unnoticed, the squirrel gave birth, with the young growing to full maturity within 20 minutes and then breeding with each other. As it turns out, the animal had been anomalously enhanced to the point where it no longer required any of the basic pillars of life. By the time the squirrels were noticed, the island appeared covered in a moving red carpet, 5 squirrels deep. If they had not been discovered and eliminated in time, they very well might have, as strange as it sounds, ended the world. The Fracti Pobl is one such world-ending problem that, if not dealt with quickly, will escalate to apocalyptic proportions. The Fracti Pobl can be described as a single entity or a collection of entities. This is due to the fact that while there are 2 physical forms they can take, they are all controlled simultaneously by a single entity located within their home EA subsphere. But before I get too ahead of myself, we should start at the beginning of a breach. A single individual of Fracti Pobl will breach our sphere alone. This entity will typically be of the soldier form and will only have a limited time to begin the larger colony before it starves to death. This is due to the soldier form, while possessing a mouth, having no way to swallow, the back of its throat being sealed shut with fleshy tissue. The mouth itself is filled with 2 layers of unsettlingly human-like teeth, with the purposes of cutting and then grinding material into easily digested paste for the second form. It possesses one manipulator appendage similar to the human hand, while the other is simply 2 blade-like structures made from a complex multi-layered weave of keratin, giving them far more strength than would appear possible. Running along their backs, from their head to their spine, is their extended stomach that, when full, can last them for months at a time, with no issue. This lone entity will search for a location with a high level of biomass, both fauna and flora. Once this location is discovered, the soldier will release an incredibly high-pitched sound from its abdomen that appears to pull others of its kind into our sphere. What we believe is truly happening is that the sound the soldier creates is acting as a marker to allow the greater entity to more accurately place the others of its hive mind into our sphere. Once the call is made, the true infection begins, with hundreds of soldier forms breaching simultaneously, with tens of feeder forms being carried along. The feeder forms are almost pillars of meat. Around 7 foot tall, the feeder form possesses a large mouth at the top, ringed with small holes that the creature breathes through. Their primary role is to act as a colony's stomach. The soldier will deposit the pre-chewed biomass into the mouth of the feeder, where it will be digested into a liquid form. From here, the feeder will then fill the soldier's stomach, using a proboscis to penetrate an orifice where their navel would be, pumping the nutrient liquid into the soldier. The soldier forms will protect the feeder forms at all costs, as the feeder forms are completely incapable of moving on their own, and without them all would perish. Once a territory is established, the Fracti Pobl will begin to reproduce within our sphere, the soldiers being the females of the species while the feeders are the males, impregnating at the same time they feed the soldiers. Their gestation period is rather short, only requiring 1 month until birth, and only a single year before the next generation is ready to begin breeding. As you can imagine, this gives them severe exponential growth potential. This, coupled with their extreme aggression to any living organism that is not part of their single consciousness, makes them rather a pressing threat to our continued survival. While they are not as durable as an abomination entity, nor do they tend to hide like the recyclers, their strength comes in the vast numbers they are able to employ, along with their disturbing ability to coordinate their actions due to their hive mind. As fighters, the Fracti Pobl are similar in effectiveness to a large brown bear, being on average 5 times stronger than an adult male human. They will usually use their one hand to hold a target in place, and then either use their blade-like arm to stab into it, or begin crushing the head with their powerful jaws. The Fracti Pobl have only been breaching our sphere for the past 70 years, though since their very first invasion they have displayed a particular hatred for human beings. I believe this can be explained best through their own words. To this end, I will play for you a recording of an interview I conducted with a group of captured Fracti Pobl for the purposes of this lesson. The isolation room contains within its stone walls 3 soldier forms and 1 feeder form, though with its ability to impregnate the soldier forms removed surgically, while still allowing it to feed them. Well, this should be interesting. Interview starts 3:45 PM. Good day, I'm Junior Researcher Southgate. May I ask what you would like to be referred to as?
We speak as one.
One voice. One mind. One person.
We are Chorus.
Chorus, I'd like to ask you some questions, if you'd be willing.
We will answer your questions, Junior Researcher Southgate. But we encourage you to remember
that one day you will die. One day only be food.
Yes, I'm sure. Okay. Unlike many incursion entities, you appear to reach our sphere deliberately, acting more like an invading force. Why do you do this?
you are all gone in our world.
Killed by us. Chewed by us. Fed to us.
So you do it because you've ran out of biomass to feed upon?
No, we have ways to sustain ourselves, but you're not there anymore.
No more left and none to kill.
Chorus, are you saying you breach our sphere specifically to kill humans?
Yes, it is all that is left to us.
All that drives us. All we are now. Revenge for what was taken from us.
You're talking about your own humanity, from before you became this.
We did not choose this.
Did not want this. It was forced upon us. We were forced to become one.
How did this happen to you?
Humans who felt they knew what would be better.
Humans who stole control. Humans who forced the change. Humans who played God.
But why target all people when the ones that did this to you are long dead? We had nothing to do with what happened to you.
Irrelevant.
You could do worse. Foolish. All are a threat. Blinded. They must be stopped.
We only seek to understand and defend ourselves. We don't want to cause harm.
If you aren't stopped, in the end you will.
Destroyers, slavers, mutilators, controllers.
The soldier forms turn away from me at this point and refuse to speak. Interview ends 3:48 PM. These invasions can happen nearly anywhere. Like most subspheres, it is not bound by the usual confines of human populations. This causes the Fracti Pobl to be particularly worrying, as with the Amazon event, where a colony started to build up within the Amazon rainforest and was only noticed due to the recent, at the time, use of satellite imaging. Our best defense against them is early detection, as if the feeders can be killed relatively quickly after breaching, the rest will starve before new ones can reach maturity. Thankfully, due to some constraint we don't fully understand, the Fracti Pobl are not able to breach in a continuous stream, with the limit being around 300 individuals per 5-month period. If an incursion does take place within Wales or in your home nation, the order suggests taking them on with multiple teams of 10 attackers from different directions while avoiding friendly fire. The goal is to split the attention of the whole in multiple directions so that a coordinated defense is more difficult to enact. We recommend automatic weaponry for the task, fired in short, controlled bursts, as while the Fracti Pobl do not have any natural armor, their large size does allow them to withstand more punishment than your typical human being. If a large-scale assault is infeasible, use of drones with high explosives to surgically take out the feeders is most likely your best bet, though somewhat more expensive. Whatever originally happened to the Fracti Pobl within their home sphere to transform them into what they are now, while sad, doesn't matter practically to us. While it is fascinating and most likely a cautionary tale, our main focus should be on how better to detect their initial incursions, and then how most effectively to destroy them. They are hell-bent on our destruction, more than most entities, and appear to hold a specific grudge against humanity, of which they were once most likely members. Their single-minded crusade against us, at least to me, somehow makes them worse than other similar entities that appear to act more out of their own survival, like the Recyclers. The biggest worry for me is the idea that there are most likely many more such entities out there who actively want the destruction of mankind that we simply haven't run into yet. But that will be all for today. With Arthur's might and Merlin's wisdom, thank you.